Hello everybody and welcome to Insider's Guide. Today we're updating and expanding the Insider's Guide for one of the most imposing ski resorts in Colorado, Crested Butte. It's been a while since the original two videos, but if you haven't checked those out, you may want to give them a look before this, as they cover many more general things, while this video will be much more specific. With all that out of the way, let's amend an Insider's Guide to Crested Butte. Alright, let's begin by updating a few things I got wrong or want to expand upon from the first two parts. To start, Meander, right under Teocalli here, is sometimes groomed. This may have been a recent change because I starkly remember it being a nice mogul field in the past, but nonetheless, it's actually pretty steep for a Crested Butte Blue, so bear that in mind. Over in the Ten Peaks area here, these backside blues are super short and fairly mellow as far as blues go. These two factors together make for some good intro-level blues for those who want to make the jump from greens. Those of you who are higher level, however, you'll probably find this entire area somewhat monotonous. Now, I seem to understate the East River area a bit in the original edition. I made it seem like East River gets significantly less busy than Paradise or the base area, and on busy days, that honestly isn't the case. Often, people see the line at Paradise and decide to try their luck elsewhere, blindly heading to East River. This gives the two lifts very similar line lengths. However, this tends only to happen in the morning. As such, the East River pod is a great place to hang out from 2 till closing. However, it is the lowest elevation area at the resort, and as such can get slushy on sunny days, so be aware of that. On the looker's left side of the lift here are a series of 3 different glades. Gully glades flow directly into the top of a natural gully, as the name implies. It's a super fun run, but it's also popular with families, so watch for little kids. Doubletop Glades really is not a glade run and is more of a standard black mogul run. Get Some Glades are by far the tightest trees in this area. Over on the other side of the pod, Bakery Trees requires a very short sidestep to access. This abbreviated hike makes it just easy enough not to be annoying, but just difficult enough to keep people from overskiing their abilities. As such, it's my favorite glade in the pod. You can also access just the bottom half of the glade by continuing on Conundrum across Lower Gallowitch. Speaking of which, I failed to mention in the original edition that Middle Gallowitch is often allowed to develop moguls, which seems like something you may want to know. One final thing for this first section. Sylvanite is a pretty hidden run, but not too hard to get to if you keep your eyes open on International. Not many people ski it, making it one of my favorite mogul runs at Crested Butte. Alright, let's now dive a little deeper into Crested Butte's extreme terrain, which is where the mountain really shines. Directly off of the Silver Queen lift, you can access a traverse that takes you to everything except peak. Because this traverse is so accessible, it gets highly skied and thus quite rocky. There is a lower traverse that I honestly have never used, so I can't really speak on it. Off of the high lift's mid-station, however, you can take this Banana High entrance all the way over to Banana. If you're going to ski Banana, I recommend using this traverse so you get the full vertical of the run and don't destroy your skis on the traverse. However, it gets pretty gnarly to try to get to Funnel and Sunset from the high traverse, so I only recommend it for Banana. Upper Peel is a huge talus garden with some huge pillows, only accessed from the high traverse. It then flows into Peel, which can be accessed from the main traverse. This is a wider area than most everything else on this front face, and as such is a great warm-up run. Flatiron, Banana, and Funnel are all super fun chutes that are wide enough to turn, but still narrow enough to fall into the category of chutes. I prefer Funnel the most, as it has this huge rock on the skier's right side towards the bottom that gives it an aesthetic the others don't have. Sunset Ridge is by far the least skied run on the front face here, and as such can be pretty fun. These 4 flow into a big mogul field, and then onto a flat road out to Westwall. You can then pop back up to Westwall to Silver Queen, and possibly to High Lift for another lap. As mentioned before, High Lift has a mid-station here for access on the looker's right to the high traverse, and on the looker's left to Big Chute. Big Chute is an absolutely fantastic run, and is exactly what its name implies. It can be rocky because of its accessibility, but it's still a Crested Butte staple. Off the top of the high lift, you can either take Halfpipe Gully, which is a moguled gully just like the name implies, ski Headwall, or head to the Teocalli Bowl. Halfpipe Gully runs parallel to the lift and gives access to some steep tree skiing, an open face, or some smaller chutes. There are tons of different lines on Headwall, but there are photographic signs at the top of the high lift to help you navigate. The Teocalli Bowls are some of the wildest areas at Crested Butte, but do require a brutal hike out, unfortunately. Over off the north face, you have access to a ton of just open space. There are the same photographic signs at the top of North Face to help you navigate as well. If you want to go scope out the infamous Rambo, head straight down any part of the North Face, but be sure to stay on the left of the Spellbound rope. In other words, don't enter any gates. Then, take the road that goes to your left. Simple as that. Spellbound Bowl is fairly similar to Third Bowl, which I addressed in the original videos but will expand a bit upon here. Third Bowl is some of the gnarliest inbounds terrain in Colorado, and that's no exaggeration. It's steeper than Rambo, has tons of natural obstacles, and almost all of it is unmarked. It skis much more like backcountry, and as such, should only be attempted by the most experienced skiers. And with that short description, we'll go ahead and leave this video off there. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave them down below and we'll answer to the best of our ability. Now that this episode is wrapped up, go check out another episode of Insider's Guide, all about other great ski areas all over. As always, thank you all for watching. All my love, I'm out.